So Isaac, this week I'm gonna mention an album that I love, and it's weird how I'm just gonna mention it. It's called Death and Spaghetti by the artist Professor Damage. The artist Professor Damage is also known as Vincent Guagenti, who of course is a professor that we both had at Fairleigh Dickinson University. He actually taught the first class I ever took, which I think was just video and film concepts.
Yep.
And I have been listening to this album, Death and Spaghetti, like fucking crazy. I can't tell you how I even discovered it, other than just kind of scrolling through Facebook, and I think I'm Facebook friends with him,
Yeah.
so I saw that he posted about it, and I just started listening to it. The very first song got me, because I think it's called Playing With Myself, which is a song about him going down to his basement, composing an album entirely by himself. And it kind of has that double meaning where you first read it,
Sure.
and you think it's kind of an inappropriate thing, but it's not. And I was just locked into this album. Like, I feel like, obviously it wasn't made for me, but I feel like this album was made for me to love. It is just everything I love about artists like Rob Zombie. I listen to songs and I hear influences of like David Bowie and like King Gizzard. He has a song called Quarantine, which is this fun sort of like play on this idea of like a quarantine monster that's been created while we've all
That's
been locked
great.
down because of COVID. And it just reminds me of like, I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but like Bobby Boris Pickett and the Crypt Keepers are a band from the 50s who, of course, their most famous song is The Monster Mash.
Oh, okay,
and
right.
It's everything about this album is so amazing, and I love it so much. I'm going to mention one song that is my favorite song, and it's ironic that whenever I seem to mention my favorite songs, there are always these questionable songs. It's a song called Midgets of Nin, which sounds like a really offensive titled song, but basically the song is about people that go to a concert to watch this band that is calling themselves the Midgets of Nin, and they're claiming that they are a person of short stature or a person with dwarfism, and they are not that. So the song is sort of about this band that is kind of just using this really offensive name just to kind of like get attention, and it's really hysterical. It's a hysterical song, and
structure to land on. Yeah.
It's just such an interesting song, and I just think this album is so good. It goes and moves in so many places. It really kind of, the main theme and structure is very much surrounding kind of us all being locked inside. And I really think it works. Like, it's such a great album. There's like a 20 to 30 second track called Frankenstein Hula, which is basically just, it sounds like a hula song, and every once in a while you just hear like, you just hear like Frankenstein kind of like grunting in the background. I love this album so much.
He's so funny. He's a really, I think, a wonderful creative mind. He's a guy who has been like a good friend and mentor to me throughout my life. He used to be in a band called Caterwall of Sound. They were much more like noise rock. They had this album called Stabby Road that was pretty fucking solid. And
Nice.
he's OG North Jersey and New York punk and metal scenes.
Yes.
And like so many people in those scenes, has just the biggest heart in the world, and is a really, really talented musician. His shit is it's so much fun. He is someone who has so much fun with it.
Yep. And this album kills.
That's awesome.
It's such a fun album. And I will also say, he kind of has, I didn't realize he had such a beautiful vocal range. Like, this album is a very bizarre sounding album, but he screams with such emotion, and in the songs where he's really singing, it's really emotional. Like, I was not only was I just blown away by how much fun I found Death and Spaghetti to be as an album, like the whole way through, in the same sense that I would rank this up there with Rob Zombie's last album, Lunar Injection, Kool-Aid Eclipse Conspiracy. Like, it feels like it goes to that many different places. But Vince in this album, Professor Damage in this album, really gets me to some unexpected emotional places, and I found it so fascinating to listen to.
Hell
and
yeah, man!
I hard recommend Death and Spaghetti by Professor Damage. Great album that came out. I think June 12th or something he released it, and I have purchased it on iTunes and I've listened to it many a times.
That's awesome.